How you doing, everyone? Greetings and welcome to vlog 2 of Super Shooty Aliens. So look, I'm not going to make the mistake I made last time. The video went on for ages. I showed you code and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of people just aren't interested in that. What we're going to do in these vloggy things once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever way it works out is I'm just going to show you how far I've advanced and explain to you some of the little decisions that I've made or some of the things that I intend to do. More or less that's it, you know, just kind of keep you abreast of it. And if I find anything interesting code-wise or whatever, I make a separate video on that, like I did with the Starfield thing the other day. So anyway, what we're looking at here is we're looking at more or less as far as I got last time. We could go left and right with our ship on the bottom, and we could shoot our bullets up the screen. Also, we could go up and down the sides of the screen, and that was all just using 2 keys. So left and right, we can do all this. Now, one thing I wanted to do was, I said I'd like to put in bullets that shot to the left and the right, depending on what side of the screen you were on. And I'm happy to say, after a little bit of struggling, I managed to figure that out. So that's working properly now. When I'm on this side of the screen, I shoot in one direction. At the bottom of the screen, I can shoot away, and I can shoot bullets from the other side of the screen. So all this is working the way I wanted it to. The next thing I wanted to do once I had that sorted out was a little idea I had with, like where I said I'd park the ship at the bottom corners of the screen, and it wouldn't be the ship that went up the screen like this. It'd be a little man that came out of the ship, kind of like you. Instead of the ship shooting out of its wing this way, it would be his little laser gun that shot out. So I was all kind of ready to do that. Little man, he was going to go up, he'd be tethered to the ship with little rope, and kind of the higher he went, the rope would extend behind him type thing and all that. That was the plan. And then I got sidetracked because I said, hey, wouldn't it be great if I had a scrolling Starfield background? I said, I wonder how I'd do that. And I got kind of thinking about it, and then it started bugging me, would that work, would this? So the only way to kind of resolve that and sleep at night is to actually write a bit in code and see if what you're thinking works. And that's more or less what I did. And this here is what I managed to come up with. So where are we? Here we are. Now, there's 1 or 2 little thingies about it though. I'll just hang on because this thing flashes sometimes. Yeah, it's going to keep flashing. But anyway, there's 1 or 2 little thingies about it, like I say. You'll see, I had to use an NTSC artifacting mode. Because I figured that's the way it would look nicest. But when you're using NTSC artifacting on a non-NTSC machine, which is like the CoCo I have here in Europe, or any of the Dragon 32 or 64s that I want this game to be compatible with, they're going to run the game like this. This is what you're going to have. It'll work perfectly, the logic will work great, but on screen you'll have this black and white image, and that's all you'll have. Now, if you're in the US, what you will have, of course, is this. You'll have this lovely kind of Starfield running in the background, and it's all lovely reds and vibrant blues, and your ship will be different colours and whatnot, but you still have that kind of white border around the screen, which is a little bit, I don't know, I'm not gone on that, but there's no way around it. That's the way the CoCo's hardware kind of does it. But I managed to make my Starfield, and I was happy that I had done it, and I said, look, this looks really good because I've got a black background, I've got lovely vibrant type stars, although they are a bit flashy. I think I need to use double buffering or whatever they call it for that, page flipping thingy to try and resolve that. But they are a little bit flashy, but then you could say it's a feature, stars do twinkle, don't they? But anyway, this is kind of the best you're going to get because you've got your background like space, and it looks probably the most realistic. And still it kind of bugs me because of the whole black and white thing with a real CoCo in Europe or with a dragon. So I said I would try, because it's very easy to change the code to go back to like the regular one that gives the 4, you know, green colours and whatnot. And I changed the code around to see what that would look like. And this here is what we've got. We've got a green background, which is not like space at all. And I said, well, I suppose I could make the background blue and the stars yellow and red type of thing. You know, in that kind of way maybe it'd look better. But the problem is a blue background is kind of hard on the eyes because it's very, very kind of, well, to me it's very hard on the eyes. And also it looks crap. To be honest, it really does. So the only option that I have open to me is to use one of those semi-graphics modes. Because although, I don't know if you know what semi-graphics modes are, you kind of get these chunky graphics that can be a little bit like the Atari 2600. But the beauty of it is you can have very, very narrow kind of pixels. They'd be a little bit chunky, sideways type of thing, but they're narrow. But you can have a black background and a black border, and 8 colours available to you on the screen at any time. And that's on an NTSC or a PAL CoCo. So I said, look, I'll take the time to convert all this and see what that would look like. And this here is the SG24 mode version of this game. So now, don't worry about what the ship looks like. It looks really crap, I know that. But I'll be modifying that, I'll be fixing that up. And also the bullets are kind of wide and thin. We'll be fixing that up as well. But the logic works in exactly the same way. So I'm pretty sure that this here is the screen mode I'm going to be using, because it serves Europe well and it'll work equally well in the US. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And yeah, the only thing I'm going to have to do to improve the look of the ship down the bottom, and it can be made to look very, very nice in this mode. Don't let this fool you. It's just a quick kind of a tryout type thing. But I'm going to have to see, at the moment I'm using 2 bytes on the screen to draw that little fella, but to get the kind of pixel resolution I need to go a little higher on him, but I'm going to have to use 3 bytes so that I have more kind of pixels that I can change colors on and that kind of thing, and make the ship look fairly decent. And also I'll animate it a little bit with a kind of flame coming out of the back of it, and it'll look a lot better. So for the coming week, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be concentrating on prettying up the graphics on this. So I'm going to make the ship look nice. I'm also going to try and get a graphic for a little guy to go out of the ship and upside the screen, you know, in his little spacesuit or whatever. And we'll get that much of it sorted out in the next week or 2, hopefully. And yeah, and then I can carry on with game logic and see what I want to do. So just to give you an idea of my plan for this actual game overall, I think what it's going to be, after all, is it's going to be what you see here. There's not much more shooting wise and control wise going on. That's pretty much going to be it. 2 keys and a fire button. And I believe it's going to be keyboard only, as far as I'm concerned anyway. But what's going to happen is there's going to be a large mothership in the middle of the screen. And it's going to be kind of turning. It'll have a little opening in it, but it's going to be kind of turning. And the idea is you have to fire a number of shots directly into that opening to kind of break down its barrier or force field, and then to hit the center and make it explode. And to try and stop you from doing that as it turns, there are going to be little swarms of aliens that come from the top of the screen. And they'll probably come in blocks of 2 or 3, I'd say, because you see what I'm thinking of, it would be easier to program the logic for 2 or 3 aliens on screen at a time, and also be a lot less processor intensive than if I had like 8 or 10 aliens on the screen kind of going, you know. So I think what's going to happen is there's going to be an infinite, never-ending horde of aliens that keep coming onto the screen. There's only ever going to be 2 or 3 on the screen at a time. They're going to be raining down missiles upon you, and you will be able to shoot them and also try and destroy the shields and the mothership using your lasers and whatnot. And that's how you'll finish levels. And we'll see about putting in little power-ups and bonuses and maybe little you know, little things that make the game a little more interesting or a little more challenging, that kind of way. But that, I think for the most part, that's what Super Shooty Aliens will be. Stupid title anyway, but I don't know, it came to me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. For the coming week, I've set myself the task of prettying up this ship and sorting out little men that'll go up the left and right side of the screen so that they can shoot at his ship. And then we'll take it from there. So that's pretty much it. Until the next one, take good care of yourselves. See ya.